Okay, this is the key for the comprehensive review part 3 for algebra. First thing we're going to be doing is talking about solving systems of linear equations. This is elimination level 1. I'll explain what that means in just a second, but just remember we're adding opposites and subtracting sames. So as you work your way through these problems, just keep that in mind. So notice that we have opposite values of x. We have a negative 4x and a positive 4x. So we add opposites. When we add these, of course, negative 4x plus 4x cancels each other out. We add negative 2y and positive 8y to get 6y. And I'll add our equals bar here. And we add negative 12 and negative 24 to get negative 36. Now it's a simple matter of dividing both sides by 6, and we get y is equal to negative 6. I forgot to put the negative in there. So now that we know that y is equal to negative 6, we can solve for x by substituting this back into either equation, doesn't matter which. I'm going to do it into the first equation, so I have negative 4x minus 2 times negative 6 equals negative 12, and now we need to calculate a value of x that will make this true. So I have negative 4x plus 12 equals negative 12. I do the opposite. I subtract 12 from both sides. I get negative 4x equals negative 24. And when I divide both sides by negative 4, I am left with x equals 6, which means that my solution is 6 comma negative 6, x and y. And one other thing that I could do now, which is a good idea, is I will check my answer using the other equation, the 4x plus 8y equals negative 24, and I'll substitute in x and y. 4 times 6 plus 8 times negative 6 equals negative 24, looking to see if this is true. 4 times 6 is 24, minus 8 times 6 is 48 equals negative 24. 24 minus 48 is negative 24, and therefore this is true and my answer in fact works. So we'll pop through the next one here. Notice that we've got the same y's. We've got negative 9 and negative 9, so according to our rule we're going to subtract. Hate subtracting negatives, but we have to do what we have to do. The minus will be over here on the other box, unfortunately. Negative 2x minus negative 4x, that's the same as negative 2x plus 4x, so that gives us 2x. Negative 9y plus 9y, those cancel each other out. Negative 25 plus 23 is negative 2. And when I divide both sides by 2, I get that x is equal to negative 1. Now, knowing that x is equal to negative 1, I'll substitute that in. Negative 2 times negative 1 minus 9y equals negative 25. 2 minus 9y equals negative 25. I subtract the 2 from both sides. Careful here because people lose that negative a lot. Negative 9y equals negative 27. Divide by negative 9, and y equals 3. So my solution is negative 1 comma 3. When I check my answer using the second equation, I've got negative 4 times negative 1 minus 9 times 3 equals negative 23. Let's check for the truth of this statement. 4 minus 27 equals negative 23. 4 minus 27 is negative 23. Check. All right, I will walk through the next one fairly quickly. I've got opposites, so I am adding. 5x equals 5. These cancel out. X equals 1. 4 times 1 plus y equals 2. Subtract 4 from both sides, and I get y equals negative 2. My solution should be 1 comma negative 2. And, I'm going to go back, put a box around that real quick. And then we will check our answer using the other equation. 1 minus negative 2 equals 3. Minus a negative is a plus, so that's 3 equals 3. Check. Put a box around my answer. Finally, I've got opposites, so I'm going to add. These will then cancel each other out, and I get 9y equals negative 9. Divide by 9, y equals negative 1. Solving for x, negative 6x plus 5 times negative 1 equals 1. Oops, squished in there. I'll move this over a bit. Negative 6x minus 5 equals 1. Plus 5 plus 5. Negative 6 equals 6. Negative 6x equals 6. Trying to go too fast here. Divide by negative 6, and we get x equals negative 1. My solution is negative 1, common negative 1. Let's check it with the second equation. And we've got 6 times negative 1 plus 4 times negative 1 equals negative 10. Negative 6 minus 4 equals negative 10. And negative 10 equals negative 10. Check. My answer works. All right, so that is level 1. Level 1 is where you have two numbers that are the same, one of the variables, but either opposite or the same when it comes to sign, but the number has to be the same. 4x's, 9y's, 1y, 6x's, either opposite or the same sign. So let's go to the next page. And now we have level 2. And what we notice is that there is nothing the same here on the x's or the y's. So we need to somehow make it the same. I'm going to multiply this second equation by 2. And when I do, my system becomes negative 8x minus 10y equals 24. That equation stays the same. 12x plus 10y equals 4. And hey, look. I've got opposites. I'm going to add. I end up with 4x. Those cancel each other out, equals 28. I divide both sides by 4, and I get x equals 7. Once I know that x equals 7, I've got negative 8 times 7 minus 10y equals 24. Solving for y now. 7/8 is 56. Sorry, I had to think about that for a second. 7 times table is my weakness. Minus 10y equals 24. Add 56 to both sides. Put my equals bar down there. I get negative 10y equals 80 dividing by negative 10. And I get that y is equal to negative 8. My solution is 7, negative 8. We'll check my answer. 6 times 7 plus 5 times negative 8 equals 2. Want to know if this is true. 6 times 7 is 42 minus 40 is equal to 2. 2 is equal to 2. Check. Put a box around my answer. All right. Looking at this one, there's two possibilities. I could multiply by 4 or I could multiply by 3. I'm going to multiply by 3 because I like the fact that these are opposites already. My system becomes negative 4x minus 15y equals negative 17. Negative 3x excuse me, plus 15y equals negative 39. I'm going to add these together. I get negative 7x, these cancel out, equals 49/56, negative 56. And when I divide both sides by negative 7, hey, I remember this one, I get x equals 8. So, looking for my y value, I'll plug in x into that first equation. Negative 4 times 8 minus 15y equals negative 17. Negative 32 minus 15y equals negative 17. and adding 32 to both sides, I get negative 15y equals 15. Divide both sides by negative 15, and I get that y equals negative 1. So my solution becomes 8 comma negative 1. We'll check our answer using the second equation. Negative of 8 plus 5 times negative 1 equals negative 13. Negative 8 minus 5 equals negative 13. Negative 13 equals negative 13. Check. I'll put a box around my answer. All right. So next problem, we'll multiply that by 2. This becomes negative 2x minus 14y equals 28. Notice that these are sames, so I'm going to subtract. Negative 4 plus 2x gives me negative 2x. These cancel out. 28 minus 28 equals 0. And when I divide both sides by negative 2, I get that x is equal to 0. Now that we know x is 0, we've got negative 0 minus 7y equals 14. Negative 7y equals 14. Divide by negative 7. And we get that y is equal to negative 2. My solution, therefore, is 0 comma negative 2. We'll check using the second equation. Negative 4 times 0 minus 14 times negative 2 equals positive 28. 0 plus 28. 28 equals 28. Check. Put a box around my answer. And finally, on the last one, notice that we could multiply by 2.5. I don't like that. So I'm going to multiply this one by 5. And I'm going to multiply this one by 2. This way we'll get 10y and 10y. So we have 15x minus 10y equals 10. And 10x minus 10y equals 20. We're going to subtract because these are sames. We've got 5x. These cancel, and 10 minus 20 is negative 10. Divide by 5, and x equals negative 2. Since x equals negative 2, I can now go back to my original equations. 3 times negative 2 minus 2y equals 2. Negative 6 minus 2y equals 2. Add 6, add 6. Negative 2y equals 8. Don't forget there's a negative there. Divide by negative 2. And y equals negative 4. My solution is negative 2 comma negative 4. Let's check our answer. 5 times negative 2 minus 5 times negative 4 should equal 10. That is negative 10 plus 20 equals 10. And 10 equals 10. Check. Put a box around my answer. All right. So, substitution. This is the second strategy. Third, if you include elimination as 2 possible different kinds of strategy. But here's what we know. We know that y equals something, and so every time I see a y, I could write the something instead. So when I substitute, my new equation becomes negative 4x plus negative 5x minus 21 equals 6. Now, it's a one-variable equation. I'm going to get rid of the parentheses because there's a plus there. The parentheses isn't doing anything. I'm going to combine like terms. Negative 9x minus 21 equals 6. I'm going to move that 21 over to the other side. And I get negative 9x equals 27. And I'm going to divide by negative 9, which gives me x equals negative 3. Now, I haven't left myself a whole lot of room to do anything else, but y equals negative 5 times negative 3 minus 21. That means that y is equal to 15 minus 21, which is equal to negative 6. My solution is negative 3, negative 6. And I'm going to check, just like I did, Negative 4 times negative 3, my x value, plus negative 6 equals 6. 12 minus 6 equals 6. Check. Put a box around my answer. So very quickly, 4x minus 3 times negative 2 equals 18. 4x plus 6 equals 18. 4x equals 12. I subtracted 6 from both sides. I'm forgetting to do my steps here, and divide by 4, x equals 3. Well, we already know y equals negative 2, so there's no calculations to be done. So my solution is 3, negative 2. And checking my answer, 4 times 3 minus 3 times negative 2 equals 18. 12 plus 6 equals 18. 18 equals 18. Check. Put a box around my answer. All right, once again, I've got a y value here, 5x minus 7, so I'm going to plug it in here. That gives me negative 3x minus 2 times 5x minus 7 equals negative 12. Now, the parentheses matters because I have a negative here. So this becomes negative 3x. I distribute that negative 2, minus 10x, plus 14 equals negative 12. I'm going to combine like terms, negative 13x. I'm going to subtract 14 from both sides, and I get negative 13x equals negative 26. Divide by negative 13, x equals 2. I'll draw my equals there. So since x equals 2, y equals 5 times 2 minus 7, y equals 10 minus 7, which equals 3. My solution is 2, 3. I'm going to check my answer. Negative 3 times 2 minus 2 times 3 should equal negative 12. Negative 6 minus 6 equals negative 12. Negative 6, negative 12 equals negative 12. Check. Put a box around my answer. And last one, we'll substitute in negative 5x minus 17. That gives me negative 3x minus 3 times my y, which is negative 5x minus 17 equals 3. Again, the parentheses matter because I have a negative here. So this becomes negative 3x when I distribute, plus 15x, plus 3 times 17 is 51 equals 3. We will subtract 51 from both sides, and we will combine like terms. I have 12x equals negative 48. Divide by 12, x equals negative 4. Substituting it into the y equation, I get y equals negative 5 times negative 4 minus 17. Y equals 20 minus 17, y equals 3. My answer is negative 4, 3. And checking, I've got negative 3 times negative 4 minus 3 times 3 equals 3. 12 minus 9 equals 3. 3 equals 3. Check, and put a box around my solution. All right, that was it for solving systems of equations. The last thing we've got is writing exponential equations. Remember, y equals a times b to the power of x. We have a start of 5,000. We have a 3% growth. So we know that b is equal to 1 plus 3 over 100. And my equation is y equals 5,000 times 1.03 to the x. Coming across here, we know it's going down by 25%, so b is equal to 1 minus 25 over 100, which means that y is equal to 600 times 0.75 to the power of x. Medication breakdown, it is decreasing by 20%. My multiplier is 1 minus 20 over 100. which means that y is equal to 500 times 0.80 to the x. My videos are increasing by 40% daily, so my multiplier is 1 plus 40 over 100. My equation is y equals 1,000 times 1.40 to the x. My algae is tripling every week. That's a multiplier of 3. So b is equal to 3. There's no percent, so I don't need to figure that out. But that means that y is equal to 8 times 3 to the power of x. And finally, my gym membership is growing by 8%. My multiplier is 1 plus 8 100ths. My equation, y equals 250 times 1.08 to the power of x. All right, that is everything you need to do. Thanks for watching.